Yep.
Welcome everyone to another live pregame edition or preview edition of 410 Sports Talk. I'm Glenn Martin here with James Haskell and, of course, DK in the background. Excited to talk about Steelers week, and a Steelers week that I don't know if it always carries this kind of weight where both teams are jostling for the number one spot in the AFC North this late in the season. So while this rivalry always has, a heated exchange between these two teams, I think the stakes make it even more so and just bring more juice to this rivalry. So can't wait to get into it. But before we do, of course, we got to shout out our sponsor. Jimmy, who's sponsoring this episode?
Yeah, you guys know who it is. The one, the only, the OG. Of course, that is BetOnline. Look, let me say something of course, there's a ton of Ravens fans, football fans out there, but folks, it's basketball season. It's that time of year again. The NBA is back. So make sure you get in on everything BetOnline. Of course, they have you covered from odds, in-game betting, NFL, NCAA basketball, football, and everything in between. So make sure you go check them out. They got prop bets, all kinds of things going on. Go over to their website. And when you go over to their website, make sure you take advantage of the welcome promotion using Bleav, BLEAV. That is, of course, the opportunity you guys have to get an extra bump in your money that you can bet. Go over there and check it out. Bet online. The game starts here.
Yes, sir. And as you can see on the screen here, BetOnline has your most up-to-date odds, earliest odds, all that good stuff. Ravens currently going to this game at a 6.5 point favorite. Have the over-under total set at 44.5 as a combined total. So definitely think the Ravens have the better team. Being the home team always gives you a little bit of advantage, but a 6.5 point spread. Clearly, odds makers think the Ravens should win this game. But that's why you play the game, ladies and gentlemen. You got to actually get it done, and let's see if the Ravens can do it. I'm going to be obviously rooting for that to be the case. But, man, this feels like old-school Ravens Steelers football where both sides just – man, I think both sides are more motivated for this game than any game they have this season. And, of course, your next game is always your most important. But, man, I'm excited about this one, Jimbo.
Yeah, absolutely. I mean, I agree. The tension is palpable, right? Like you can really feel it. The build is exciting. I know people are making plans for the game. I think it's kind of cool. It's going to be a Saturday game, one less day to wait, and get this game get this game going. And I think it's going to be a spectacle. Just like you said, Glenn, it's going to be physical. It's going to be old school. Whatever teams roll out there on each side health-wise, that it's going to be a close game. Close-ish game. I mean, I think chances of it being a blowout either way are probably pretty low. But this is the only thing I want to say. As you guys know, we're going to get into injury reports, right? When we win and win handily, okay? I want to hear none of it from the Steelers fans about health. None of it. Don't talk to me about Pickens. Don't talk about TJ Watt and his Oscar-winning, antics. Right? Like, dude, he's obviously gotten taking some acting classes to get in the Peloton commercials and every other commercial that he's in. And he's certainly using that. Ham it up. But when we win, I want none of it because you know what? It's the last thing that Tomlin is going to say. Oh, we were injured. He doesn't give a crap. So don't you dare say that Pickens would have won you the game. Okay. I don't want to hear it. Anyway, I just wanted to start off with that because I can already feel it, Glenn.
Well, look, there's injuries on both sides that are going to end up being key misses for both teams. But let's get right into that. As you can see here, we'll start with the Ravens, the good guys. Nelson Aguilar continues to be dealing with the concussion and is questionable, but very unlikely to play. Has not participated in any practice all week. Jalen Armour-Davis also has not participated in any practice, already ruled out with the hamstring injury. This is the big one, Jimbo, the one that popped up late. It was unexpected. After getting tons of hype, tons of coverage on social media, national television, Rashad Bateman goes down in practice on Wednesday with what's being described as a foot injury, was seen in the locker room wearing a boot, and then did not participate at all in today's practice. So the feeling is that it's unlikely he'll be out there. And so right there, you got two receivers likely going to be out against a team where, they're gonna dare you to throw the ball and make your receivers win. So That right there is not ideal for the Ravens. We'll get into who's going to take that place and what that really means. I'm curious to get your take on that, Jimbo. And then Daniel Falele, he's going to be fine. He had some limited days, but he's out there. And the entire offensive line was out there today practicing. Justice Hill also, he's going to be fine. Had a personal issue that kept him out one day. And then Adisa Isaac, full participant. Be nice to see. Maybe get a little glimpse of what that guy can do, although it better not cut into Adafe Owe's snaps. Okay? It better not.
Isn't Adafe a little banged up too?
He's banged up, but he's going to be just fine, Jim. Don't start thinking that you're going to get out of this one without Adafe, because he beat both their tackles' asses last time, and I'm hoping and praying that he does it again. But also TJ Tampa off the IR, activated, and looks like he can contribute if he is ultimately a game day activation. Then our Darius Washington, a little bit of a worry with the limited, but he's back out there and looks good to go.
Yeah, Glenn, I think that to summarize this, I think the biggest concern is the wide receiver depth.
Yeah.
At this point, right? With you get the double whammy of Nelson and then Rashad. And of course, this would be a great time to have Deontay Johnson once again and give him an incredible opportunity to make a ton of money, right? Like go out there and ball out and make yourself some money next year. But instead, you had to whine and complain like a salty baby, like a child, like a petulant child who, like a 16-year-old kid that gets a Mercedes for Christmas and says it was the wrong color. Shut up, Deontay. Like, gosh, I will never forgive that guy for that. I guess I should forgive everyone, but just ridiculous. Anyway, all that being said, let's talk about the Pittsburgh Steelers, because they got, just like you said, they got their issues as well. Top on the list is the one, the only Deshaun Elliott, who we know has a history of being injured. Now, he's limited today. He'll probably play, but his game status apparently is doubtful. Got a hamstring issue, so even if he plays, not going to be 100%. Big deal that Justin Fields is not going to be out there, because he is kind of a catalyst for that offense in moments where they're struggling. He comes in and gives them a little bit of a spark plug there. He's not out. A few other names on here. Of course, the one I think that's most important outside the other two, of course, would be George Pickens, who's already been ruled out. He's got that hamstring injury. And then TJ Watt, who, did not practice and was limited. He's got the ankle, but we all know what it is, right? Like he's just hamming it up so he can have some victorious rise in the game and punch somebody and then get a contract from the UFC. So look, that's just kind of how it goes with TJ Watt. It's what we'll expect until otherwise. But
just
yeah,
same with Deshaun. Yeah, TJ's definitely going to play, but there's no way he's going to be 100% with the ankle being freshly injured.
He could be, because he'll talk about how he's like Wolverine and everything else, and you know what I'm saying?
Yeah. It may not have been as severe as
he'll like plug Peloton or something and be like, "Oh man, the Peloton got me right," or like something like that. You know what I mean? Like,
there's no doubt though, if he is limited, he leads the league in forced fumbles. He has 11.5 sacks. He's a force. He's had I think a sack in like some ridiculous amount of straight games that he's played against. It's like 9 consecutive games he's played against us. He's had at least one sack, which is just infuriating, but he's going to be out there. So it looks like in reality, Jimbo, it's really a pretty equal injury report. We're missing Bateman. They're missing George Pickens. I mean, Bateman has been our most important pass catcher over the last 4 weeks. And Pickens is obviously their number one receiver, their number one deep threat, their number one everything, yak guy. I mean, you name it, he is. And look, we're both missing big guys, big keys to the offense. So let's get after it, Jimbo.
Yeah, 100% there, Glenn. I'm with you. And I'm just ready to roll into this game, whatever the injury status may be. But I am excited to talk about some potential, just like you said, for some other guys to step up and stake their claim in Ravens history in a huge matchup here. So let's start talking about it by, talking about our offense. And of course, we'll get into that against their defense. You talked a little bit about their defense, Glenn, at least from TJ's perspective, but break down our offense, how we looking these days with the Baltimore Ravens offense, of course, coming off a big win.
Yeah. I mean, the Ravens continue to be one of the very best teams in football when it comes to offense. And look, we're going to talk a little bit later, but don't sleep on their defense and the strides they're making on that side of the ball too. But as far as offense goes, 29.9, just under the 30-point mark per game. That puts them third in the league. Yards They remain number 424 yards. Game yards per play, again, number 1, 6.9. Third down conversions, they're second in the league. Talk about key contributors to how yards per play and third down is a pretty good indication if you're a good offense. Their second rate, 48.7%. And also, I mean, you talk about key metrics. Number 1 still in red zone scoring, 74% of the time they enter the red zone, they score a touchdown. That is just insane. Like, absolutely insane. Rushing yards per rush, again, number 1, 5.7 yards per carry. Yards per game, they're second at 178. Passing yards, Jimbo, they might do it. They're number 1 still in yards per pass attempt, 8.8 in yards per game. They're third, 245.6. I mean, the offense is just absolutely historic. It's crazy, Jimbo, how good they've been. And look, they got their swagger back to some degree, last week after a slow start. Let's just hope that they can kind of finally fix this one thorn, I think, that's been in Lamar's side and the side of the Ravens. That's the Steelers defense.
Yeah, no, I agree. I think those are it's exciting to, I mean, we've kind of already talked about it and we'll talk about it all night, but it's just the stakes are so exciting. This is what you play for. This is what you watch for as a fan. Like, the Giants game is cool. A W is a W, but this is the game, ladies and gentlemen. And just like you said, we need that offense and all of its historic swagger that they have in production to come out in a big way on Saturday. I keep wanting to say on Sunday, but and part of that is because, look, this defense is no slouch. We've already seen them once. We know what they can do. And certainly Tomlin has a history of doing well against Lamar Jackson as far as, his defense goes in the games that Lamar's been out there, not just this year, but in previous years. Look, they're 6th in the league in points surrendered per game at 18.9, so 19 points a game. They are 7th in the league in third down conversion at 35%. They're second in they're 14th in the league at red zone scoring percentage at 53%. And then, if you're talking about defending the run, obviously that's a big part of our game. They're they're 4th in rushing yards surrendered a game at 94. And let's see how they do on the pass. They're 22nd at passing yards. And then completion percentage, they're 9th. So look, this is a good defense that's going to be hungry. And, just like Glenn's got up on the screen, just like before, two of their leading tacklers, former Baltimore Ravens, Patrick Queen's going to relish the opportunity to come to the bank and commit a burglary, right? Just straight up rob the bank and head back to Pittsburgh. Same thing with Deshaun. But let me give you a key offensive matchup that I'm looking forward to, Glenn. And the reason I want to bring this up is because his names are here on the screen. I'm excited to see Joey Porter and Zay Flowers. That matchup continue to develop, not just this year, but even years to come. Certainly in this game, I think it's going to be an exciting one. I don't know, honestly, how many times we're going to see a matchup against each other. I just don't think it's super advantageous for Porter. But I'm excited to see it nonetheless because he is a handsy guy and really physical. And Zay has a way of making people like that generally look foolish. So I'm excited about that one. And I just want to keep going here because I got some momentum before we talk about this defense. I want to give you because I want to get your take. We can talk about their defense more in depth here. I want to give you my offensive X factor. I'm jumping way ahead.
Damn,
okay,
hold on.
I'm excited.
What are you doing?
I'm excited.
Where you go? Okay.
We're still in the offensive matchup here.
Okay, all right.
It's my offensive dude. Tylan Wallace is my offensive X factor because if Bateman doesn't play, Tylan has been showing signs this entire season that he's made progression, done some good things. He's got put in the doghouse a little on special teams. I think he redeems himself in this game, Glenn. I think he ends up being a highlight in the film that is this game afterward. When we're going back to watch the 10-minute version, the 5-minute version, I think there's 2 or 3 plays in there that belong to Tylan Wallace.
Wow.
Yeah.
Okay. I certainly hope you're right. You could use some of his yak ability in this one. I did want to get a quick overall just of what the Steelers are bringing more as a team. They are plus 18 turnover ratio, Jimbo.
Yeah, they're an advantageous team.
Number one in the league.
Uh-huh.
That's a pretty good indicator if you're going to win the game or not. If you win the turnover battle, and they typically do so, that's certainly going to be an impact. And then just a general overview of what the Ravens have been dealing with. Of course, everyone knows the Steelers won 8 out of 9. They've won 4 straight overall, and 4 straight in Baltimore. Like that shit's got to change real quick. We were there for one of them, and let me tell you, it didn't feel good. But here's the thing that I think is actually encouraging, even though it doesn't look good for us. I think this is encouraging. The Ravens' last game, and I have it pulled up. I have their box score pulled up.
Yeah,
they lost 18-16 to the Steelers in the first matchup, right? 18-16. In that game, the Ravens obviously had a season low in points at 16, season low in yards. They had 12 penalties. They had 3 turnovers. They missed 2 field goals. They had 23 minutes of possession compared to 36 minutes for the Steelers, and they lost by 2 points. Like, they lost by 2 points playing the shittiest they played so bad. I mean, what did they do good? They were horrible on special teams. They couldn't retain the ball. They scored their lowest amount of points. They moved the ball the worst they had all year, and they had 3 turnovers and 12 penalties, and they still had a game-tying 2-point conversion attempt at the end of the game. I mean, that just tells you that it's not like the Steelers are just so talent-rich that the Ravens can't hang with them. No. They just have to not shoot themselves in the foot and screw themselves over along the way. Also, Lamar Jackson needs just 109 yards to pass Vic and become the ultimate, the undeniable, not that he already isn't, but just the greatest dual-threat quarterback in the history of football. And as you said, Jimbo, continues his march to being the greatest football player of all time, no matter what position you're talking.
Yeah, it's just
I have no problems saying that you were right about that one, Jimbo. No problems.
Yeah, well, I appreciate that.
It might sound hyperbole because of the accomplishments of others, but just as a pure football player, it's absolutely unbelievable what he does. Also, 15-mile-an-hour wind gusts, Jimbo.
Interesting.
Could be to potentially affect the throws of Russell Wilson, but
I thought you were talking about the kicks.
Oh yeah. We're gonna get into the kicks here, Jimbo, because oh my God, I'm a little nervous about that. But yeah, just wanted to go over those, and then let's get into some more of the offensive matchup. Don C, appreciate it.
Don C says, I don't get the Steelers' success recently. We are a far better team. We have Lamar. They have Let's Ride Russell. We must exercise the demons. Yeah, I mean, I think some of it is, I think that in the division, you have to measure things differently, right? Because even the Broncos, before they started going on a run a little bit, the Chiefs beat them because of a blocked field goal, right? Like everything in the division is closer. There's always been examples of that.
Same with the Raiders game, remember?
Yeah, right, exactly. I mean, the Raiders are in the basement, right? So I think that, you have to consider that, Don. So all these games are so close. They just seem to be winning them, right? But it's not like we're just getting dominated, like you said. I think I agree with you. We're clearly the more talented football team at most positions. But one of the things that Tomlin is really good at is getting the most out of the guys that he has, or the units that he has that are really good, and really magnifying their value. And he's done that a lot with that defense. And credit to him. So I think that's the way that I look at it, right? Like, it's slanted towards the Steelers, but a lot of those games were a coin toss. And I think that you have to just measure things differently inside the division.
And I think we can't deny the fact that Lamar has played, and the offense in general has played their worst ball against these guys. I mean, he's got 5 touchdowns and 8 picks in his career against them. That's so much worse than any other team, even the Chiefs. He plays far better at against than it seems like the Steelers, but not this Saturday, ladies and gentlemen. So my big matchup, and I'm gonna actually let me start with my offensive player because I'm curious about your take on this. You mentioned, I think I know your answer. It's going to be Tylan, but beyond Tylan Wallace, because when you're losing Nelson and you're losing Bateman, that's your 2 and your 3, right? So you're going now. You don't have your 2 and 3, so now you're 4, 5, 6. Got to scoot up. Do you think that it's simply just, we're going to see a lot more of Wallace. We're probably going to see more of Tez Walker after his touchdown last week. But But do you think we also see more of an emphasis of using Isaiah Likely and more two tight end opportunities where both those guys are running routes and potentially, get the ball and create some yak yards? Because why, who do you think's a better overall player and more of a scary threat? Isaiah Likely or some of the guys on the back end of our depth chart, like Tez Walker and potentially like a Dayton Wade?
Yeah, no, that's a good point, Glenn. I like that, and I'm in favor of that, right? Like, let's use the guys that we got, and let's feed Mark, and let's let the tight ends carry us this game, right? Along with Zay. I mean, we've seen a lot of success. There was a period of time in the season we were basically unstoppable when we run the two tight ends out there and have Zay out there as well.
Yeah.
So yeah, let's double down, right? I like that. I didn't necessarily think about that immediately. That's kind of why I chose Tylen, but I like Isaiah Likely as well in that scenario to be a guy that'll step up. Like, let's not forget about who this guy is and what he can do, certainly after the catch too, and from a catch radius standpoint.
No doubt. I mean, that guy, I think has been, and look, there's a lot of mouths to feed. So it's not like like, this is an indictment on Monken, but I think if he had the opportunity to go be the number one tight end elsewhere, I think he would be putting up crazy numbers. So I just think he's a little bit underutilized. But again, it's hard. There's so many guys on this team that need to get the ball. So I get why he doesn't necessarily become a focal point. But I'm going to say my key matchup, it's going to come down to the rookie versus TJ Watt. Ken Roger, hold up. We've seen more and more over the last couple of weeks him getting more opportunities to just be put on that island that they envisioned for him when they drafted. And he certainly has shown he has the athleticism. Not sure if he has the play strength yet, but you can see that it's there, and he certainly will grow into his frame and become a stronger football player, but he's not there just yet. I'm curious how much help he gets, how much help he needs with the injury to Watt. But I think that's the key matchup. They're not going to put him everywhere up. They're not going to walk him all over the defensive line. He's going to stay likely lined up over Roger for the most part, and let's see what happens. But as far as my X factor, I'm going to ride the hot hand and say Tez Walker continues to grow and expand his role in this offense. The injury sure helps get him more opportunities, but let's not forget that, he made an impact last week when we had Bateman going for 2 touchdowns, and he still was able to get one. So without Bateman, certainly should get some more run. Do you think there's any chance, Jimbo, that we see the debut of Dayton Wade in this offense?
No, I don't think so.
Okay.
I think with Tez coming on, like you said, and then Tylen seemingly having a larger impact, even though it's been relatively incremental, or not incremental, but I think that he'll end up taking. Yeah, so I think Dayton is still a little bit too far down that list. But to your point, I like the matchup you picked as well with Rosengarten. G. Isaac really quick says Monk is my X factor. He is tired of this crap. He is getting tired of this crap.
Did you see him in that clip out of practice, Jimbo?
I didn't. No.
They're working on a receiver strip drill where the other receivers will try and strip, the receiver counterparts just as a drill. And they were doing a little too powder puff, light rip. My man Tom Monken took off sprinting towards them. Like, no, you grab the ball and you rip it out of their hands. You don't sit this little. You rip. He was talking about we fumbled 8 times in the last 4 games again. He was pissed, Jimbo, and I love to see it. You got to practice like you play. You can't be going through the motions, hitting
trying to make each other look good.
Right. No, you got to rip at that ball, try and get it out, because you better believe Patrick Queen's going to be motivated to try and do so.
Right.
I mean, these guys, you got to practice. I better not see a ball on the ground, Jimbo. If I see a fumble,
what if it's
Jimbo,
Lamar?
Well, he gets a little more leniency, but if it's anyone else, I mean, I'll be disappointed in Lamar too. Don't get me wrong.
Yeah.
I was frustrated with our start last week because of that fumble, but obviously he gets a little bit more grace and leniency. But yeah, I mean, there's really no excuse to put the ball on the ground for anyone.
Yeah, no, I agree. And okay, let's see here. Bragging Rights Sports says the Ravens versus Steelers rivalry, especially since 2007, has been all about streaks. They won 8 of 10. We won 9 of 12, and now they've won 12 of 16. This game better be opening day. This game better be opening day 2011 all over again, where we straight up crush them. I hope you're right. I have a feeling that the Ravens will win this game handily. I don't know if the score will be crazy, like out of reach, but I think the Ravens will feel in control for a lot of this game. So I'm hoping that, look, I just want a victory. I don't care how it manifests itself. But I just really quickly want to touch on your point one more time because I want to ask you a question. So your matchup is Rosengard and Watt. How do you talked about, how you felt about him moving forward and the confidence you have in him. Specifically in this game, though,
Mm-hmm.
how nervous are you, right? Like, where's your, because TJ is banged
TJ.
up.
Yeah,
Yeah,
but he's still TJ Watt.
that's what I was gonna say. But yeah, he's still got a ton of production.
Yeah.
Where are you at in the nervous scale with this matchup?
Well, I think any tackle, no matter who's at tackle, you got to be a little nervous if TJ Watt's in front of him. But that definitely gets increased when you're a rookie. I can't deny it. But I will say I feel a lot better about Roger in this matchup than I did on the road, weeks ago in the matchup at Pittsburgh. So as I don't feel great about it, but I think the combination of this being late in his rookie season, it's a home game, which would make communication a hell of a lot easier. You won't have to operate out of a silent count, which is always to the advantage of the defense. TJ Watt's banged up, which absolutely helps in a big way. Yep. And I think he's just gotten better because he's played more. So I think the combination of those, I feel a lot better going into this game than I did the last. But obviously there's some concerns with his play strength. And TJ Watt can beat you anyway. He can beat you with speed. He can beat you with the rip move. He can swim. I mean, he can obviously, run stunts with the best of them, but he can bull rush you too. And that's the part that scares me a bit. Same with Highsmith on the other side. That's the only part that worries me about the matchup with him and Ronnie is he can bull rush Ronnie. Ronnie's been playing his ass off, but he's still one of the, if there's one area that you could say, all right, he still, has issues with, that's a super strong player bull rushing him. Obviously gotten better than he was last year. So I feel good about the offensive line to a degree, but that's definitely where the game is going to be won and lost. Cam Hayward, older guy, still has 8 sacks or something crazy this year, still an absolute monster. And then, they got a dynamic duo with Highsmith and Watt. I think Benton, their D tackle, is a big, strong guy who's got a little bit of twitch to his game. They got a good front, Jimbo. That's the scariest part, no doubt. You called it with Joey Porter. He's a PI waiting to happen. He's a grabby guy. He doesn't scare me as much, but the defensive front does scare me. I'll be honest.
Yeah, no, that's fair. And we've seen that even in let's see. Sorry, what's G. Isaac said? That is what
is that
that's what I'm talking about, Glenn. That's what I'm talking about.
Okay. All right.
I think so.
Yeah, I'm not sure exactly what he was referencing, but
but look, all the love is much appreciated.
Yes, sir. Yes, sir. Appreciate that, my guy.
All right, let's switch this thing up, Glenn.
Yeah, let's talk about the other side, huh?
Yeah, let's talk about our Ravens defense against their offense, and let me just give you. We all know who we are on defense, but we are much improved, and we said it before. I mean, this back quarter of the season, it seems to be a different defense, and they seem to have figure things out. So the statistics are starting to bear that out, right? We're now 22nd in points per game, which I think at one point we were 29th, if I'm not mistaken. We're at 23 a game, which is points surrendered, of course. Third down, we're 23rd at 41%, a hair over it. Let's see here. Against the rush, of course, we're still number 1, 80 yards surrendered a game. Which is awesome. And then, look, against the pass, we are still 31st at 258th or 258th. Oh my gosh, 258 per game. But trends, people, trends. Another solid output for the most part in this past game against the Giants from the defense. And they seem to have figured some things out. They got some help back at the defensive line. They settled the back end. Wiggins is coming on. So a lot of great things happening there. I'm not, to be honest, in this matchup in particular, I'm not worried about their offense beating us. Like, I'm not worried about this matchup as a whole. I know we're going to get into the offense. I'm just not concerned about that being the way that we lose this game if we lose it, by being overwhelmed by their offense. So, they look, I mean, I mentioned it. We talked about it. We've made some changes inside linebacker, made some changes to the back end, and we got some health in the front end. So I think we're in good shape here for this matchup.
Yeah, no doubt. And look, some of these stats, I'm going to go over their offense. they're skewed a bit because you talk about a guy, the MVP of their offense, while Russell Wilson definitely brought a lot, I think
Mm-hmm.
it's still George Pickens. And
Mm-hmm.
it's because of, he just brings a whole new element to their offense that without him, you just don't have to worry about. And that's of course the vertical threat. But let's get into it here. They're 10th in points per game at 24, yards per game 18th, 325, yards per play. They're 20th at 5.1. Third down conversions 38.9%. That's 13th. Red zone scoring 45.8%. That's 31st in the National Football League. And look, you don't have to go any further than look at our last matchup. They kicked 6 field goals and won the damn game. Like, that is just unbelievable. You should never lose a game when you don't surrender a touchdown. Like, that's just not good. Can't blame the defense for that one. But let's see here. Rushing yards per carry, 3.9. That's 30th in the league. But yet rushing yards per game, they're second at 32 yards per game. So they're not necessarily efficient, Jimbo,
Right.
but they're relentless in their attack on the ground.
I mean, we know that, right?
That's right. That's why they're 10th in the league at 126, despite being 30th in yards per attempt at 3.9. So not great efficiency, but they will continue to smash the two-headed monster of Najee Harris. And
is it a monster?
Well, it is in the sense that they're top 10, I guess. So to that, to some degree. And Warren certainly is a pass catching threat out of the backfield.
He is. I'm more concerned about him than Najee every time we play him.
Yeah. But I think it's more so I think if they had some more offensive weapons and maybe, had something more to get guys out of the box, they might have a little bit more opportunities to open up holes for Najee.
Maybe, but if you fumble.
Yeah, he had a bad fumble last week.
I took that one and ran with it, didn't I?
Oh, yeah, no, I mean, he did. And by the way, Jimbo, they have 3.9 yards per carry as a team. He has 3.9 as a player. So
yeah, did you immediately think of Jimbo when you saw that play?
When he fumbled? Of course. Yeah. Every time he does anything bad, I think of you. Because you called it from day one that he was going to be a waste of a first-round pick.
Dude, look, how crazy is it that Derrick Henry was a second-rounder and he was a first-rounder? How nuts is that, dude?
With hindsight, it's absolutely ridiculous. But
think about it, because he's just like when you go to Rite Aid, you can buy Tylenol or you can buy like the store brand Rite Aid Tylenol. Like Najee is just, yeah, you know what I'm saying? He's just,
man, that's dirty. That's dirty.
It's just the truth.
That's
Come on, tell me if I'm not telling the truth though.
Well, I mean, you may have a point there, Jimbo. You might have a point. Let me just throw this up here so we can further.
Gus Edwards is a better football player than Najee Harris.
Gus Edwards has a touchdown tonight, by the way.
Does he?
He does. They're tied 7-7. The Broncos. Oh, no. Sorry. Just advanced. 14-10 Denver over the Chargers. So that's going to impact the playoff picture.
Yep.
No doubt about it. Let me just throw this up real quick. Give you a little rundown of the statistical standpoint. Russell Wilson, 64.7% completion percentage, 8.1 yards per attempt. Or might that be – actually, I think that's per completion. 13 touchdowns to 3 interceptions. On the ground, talk about Najee, 891 yards, but just 3.9 yards per carry. If you can't average 4 yards a carry, in my opinion, you're not a very good running back. Although, like I mentioned, he does have some challenges in the team they put around him. Jaylen Warren, 4.1 yards per carry, but 5 touchdowns for Najee, one for Jaylen Warren. Then through the air, I mean, they're a dink and dunk team, Jimbo, outside of George Pickens, and that's why it kills him when he's out. He has 850 yards. He averages 15.5 yards per carry or per catch and has 3 touchdowns. Freiermuth is a good player. He's just an underneath guy. He's like he's a good player, but he's just not very fast. Doesn't create a ton of separation, but he will make tough catches. Calvin Austin, you can see he's their deep ball threat, but he just doesn't run good routes. He's just a straight fast guy. That's it. And then, Van Jefferson, who cares? Mike Williams, he's had one big catch since he got there. It was his first catch when he got there. They have a bunch of dink and dunk guys. They're going to dump it down to their running backs. They're going to dump it down to their tight end, and they'll take a couple shots to Van Jefferson, Calvin Austin, and maybe a Mike Williams shot, and that's their offense, Jimbo.
Yeah. Yeah, it's not complicated.
No.
Right? They're not going to deceive you. You know what's happening. Look, to me, the Ravens, the key to this game for the Ravens is they just need to tackle.
That is so true.
Just tackle and keep everything in front of you.
Yep.
Right? Like, just tackle, guys, because Najee is not going to juke you, right? Like, he's not faster than you. He's just, you simply got to tackle him, mitigate his impact.
He will fall
Yeah,
forward.
definitely. Definitely. But if you can mitigate his impact by lack of arm tackling, I think you kind of knock him out of the equation as a game changer if you can just tackle.
Well, remember, Roquan went out last game, and that's when they started having success on the ground. Roquan looks like he's back, ladies and gentlemen.
Yeah, he does. Yeah, and certainly he's gotten some help, which is beneficial.
Yeah.
And then same thing with what's the other kid's name? Warren. Warren is deceivingly strong. You got to tackle him. You simply got to tackle him. And then outside of that, you just let him dink and dunk, because offenses are not built. I mean, even they're not built to play mistake-free football all the time, right? Like, even remember when the Ravens would have long methodical drives, we always get frustrated because Greg Roman would be able to orchestrate 1, 2, 12, 15 play drive a game and it'd be a touchdown. It'd look easy. Well, that's because nothing went wrong in 12 to 15 plays. The Steelers are going to have to do this how many times to win this game? Now, in the last game, like you said, Glenn, they had no touchdowns and still won the game. But I firmly believe that our offense shows up this game and does a better job at putting pressure on their offense, which is why I'm still petitioning that we start with the football.
I like that. I like it.
Just put pressure on them right away.
Why not? Why not? Right. Yeah. I don't like when we sit down, because we saw it again last week. It led to a slow start. I'm with you, Jimbo. I agree.
I tell you what, there's nothing, Glenn. If anybody, anywhere ever grew up playing basketball in the DMV area, the first thing you learn is generally fast break and then the full court press, because that's it. As soon as the other team scores or you score, you're already in a full court press. Like, that's it. That's what you're doing, and you're in everyone's face all the time, and that just is what it is. And so why can't we put that pressure on them? Make them proverbially, inbound the ball with, you're down 2-0 and you're inbounding the ball and you're like, oh my gosh, this is already real. Like, we're down 7-0 and now we're expecting Russ to dink and dunk it down the field.
Yep.
That's a losing proposition is the way I see it.
Yeah. I mean, if you just look at these two teams, it's like, there's no way. So there's just no way that the Steelers can beat them. So it's the way. Here's how they could beat them. And I wrote it. You called it. The big words I wrote at the bottom: tackles and penalties. If we tackle and we don't have a bunch of penalties, and of course you could always throw turnovers, but that's like every game. But in this particular game, if you just tackle well and don't beat yourself with penalties, I don't know how they win, Jimbo. I don't see an avenue where they're going to be able to score enough points. And sure, they have a good defense and they're going to slow us down. But we have so many better players on our offense than they do on theirs. It's not even remotely close, Jimbo. Like, quarterback, not even close. Receiving core, not even close. Tight end group, Fryermuth's a good player, but the drop-off when we have Isaiah Likely at second and they have Darnell Washington, who, by the way, did make a big catch against us, but he's a run-blocking tight end who's just a monster. Not even close. Like, you name it, we're so much better than them at. And so if it does, it's going to be because we hurt ourselves with turnovers, penalties, or missed tackles. Like, it's just the bottom line how it is. And of course, if we get out coached, Jimbo, I mean, we cannot allow our coaches to outsmart themselves to come in here with a silly game plan. Just do what you know to do. Beat this team. Don't make it too fancy, too pretty. Just beat this damn team, Jimbo. You got to do it. And let me see here. I already talked about my key defensive matchup. It's the underneath coverage versus the running backs. They love to dink and dump this ball down the field, and I don't want it to happen. Let me see here.
Well, and I just want to say my matchup real quick was similar to yours in that, like, with Pickens being out, I honestly think their next, kind of like you talked about Isaiah Likely, I had that thought with their offense. Their next primary pass catcher is Fryermuth. Right. So whether it's our linebacking core is what I wrote down, but whoever it is defensively, I don't think that guy's also, I don't think he's a game breaker, but just once again, containing him, keeping it in front, having an eye on him in the red zone, because that's where they're going to go. If they got to pass the ball in the red zone, I don't imagine it going anywhere but to him. Maybe, I guess, Mikey Williams too, but that's where they want to go with the football.
Yeah. Yeah. Mike Williams has 5 catches, Jimbo, all year.
Yeah.
Like, he's got 7 targets all year.
Oh boy.
with them, of course. He's been
Yeah,
there
yeah, yeah.
for
No, I got you.
5 weeks. I mean, come on.
Right.
Yeah,
Yeah,
he's
yeah.
not much of a threat. It's definitely like you said, it's Freiermuth and the running backs out of the backfield, and then just watch out for the occasional deep throw to Van Jefferson or Calvin Austin or Mike Williams. That's it. And my key matchup or my X factor player, I'm sorry, is going to be. I mean, I'm riding the hot hand, Jimbo. Odafe Owe, baby. He is going to continue his
A
dominance
hot hand, huh?
well, hot hand over the Steelers. I mean,
True.
he's going to continue his dominance over both their tackles. He gave each of them a sack last time he played them, and I anticipate him also floating up and down that offensive line again. If I see another game, Jimbo, where his snaps are given to stinking ass Ajabo, I shouldn't say that's mean to Ajabo, okay?
Yeah.
But I have a lot riding on this, okay? A lot riding on this. Just quit giving all the damn snaps to Adisa Isaac. I see you're back to practice. That's good. That's great. Sit this one out. Give those snaps to Odafe. Quit the bullshit, guys. The guy's been on a tear. All of a sudden, he's riding the pine. I don't understand what the hell this coaching staff is doing.
You're gonna be so sorely disappointed.
You're gonna be every time you do these like obscure predictions, Jimbo. That 9.5, bro. You better not be right about that.
I know, dude. He's gonna leave you at the altar.
He's gonna break my freaking
empty-handed, dude. The song is gonna dun 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 dun.
That's how we're gonna start the next show.
Everyone's gonna stand up and just no one's gonna walk out. Glenn's just gonna be standing there, crickets.
Yep.
There. Man, that must be heartbreaking.
Oh, dude. It's got to be the worst, bro.
Seriously. Dude, speaking of which, side note, really quickly, I had a guy today. I was taking my dog out, and I live near Lee's Pint and Shell, and I take him to the bathroom right in front of it. Generally, we walk in front of it, and that's where he goes to the bathroom. Anyway, walking down Linwood, and this guy is walking up on the other side of the street, and he's like crying, like painfully crying, right? Very loud and audibly crying. I'm like, dude, what just happened to this guy?
And I Jets fan?
I don't, but I honestly considered being like, hey man, like, are you okay? You know,
and risky move in Baltimore.
Right. So then he gets to his car and I'm like, I'm on the other side of the street. I'm like 20 yards from where, and I see him beating on his car, just punching his car and just angry punching. So I was like, nope, not going over there. Not talking to this guy. I want no beef. I got a big dog with me, but I don't feel like getting in an altercation tonight. Not something I want to do. So anyway, I saw him though. He all of a sudden, he gets upset, whatever. And then it seemed like he got an idea, ran back to Lee's, ran up the stairs into Lee's like defiantly. And I'm like, oh boy, stuff's about to go down. But then he comes back out again and he's got a jacket with him. He's like walking like, like a strut, like puffing his chest.
Got his swagger back, yeah.
In his car, he's sitting in his car for a second. It seemed like he was pumping himself up and started heading back again.
You got this, brother.
I'm going in the house, dude.
Yeah.
I don't know what happened. Hopefully everything was okay, but dude was going through it. So yeah, hopefully that's not you, Glenn, at the end of the season when Odafe leaves you with 9.5 sacks.
Yeah, it's starting to look like it, but not. I'm not going to give up hope.
Dude, he can have another hat trick this game.
That's right. And look, all I need is 2. I need 2. That's it. I don't need.
He's at 8 or is he at 7.5?
He's at 8. Is
he at 8? Okay.
Don't you even think about it. Look, we're gonna have another year where we have 2 pass rushers get to double-digit sacks. I think him and KVN get there. I think KVN's already at 9, so it shouldn't be very difficult for him to scratch one more out over the remaining 3 weeks. But yeah, man, absolutely can't wait. Don C and Maryland, Texas, bring it up. We didn't talk much about Board in this one. I do expect this to be much more of the same. I think we'll see a lot more of Malik Harrison and Chris Board next to Roquan Smith. Of course, Roquan's not going anywhere, but I do think that trend continues. It's helped the team. We played really fantastic football, both in the run and pass. It allows Rowe, I think, to free him up in certain scenarios to be Roquan because. Look, we saw he's been a lot better since that change. Like, it's not just our defense, but him specifically has been better.
I think the biggest thing has been mentally. Like, I feel like he's got less to worry about mentally when he feels better about the guy next to him.
He's not doing 2 jobs. He's not thinking for 2.
Exactly.
Yeah.
Yeah. And outside of the output that these guys are demonstrating, right? Like what they're doing on the field, especially Malik Harrison.
Right.
looking like a veteran and a well-developed football player in the NFL. But yeah,
Man, I owe him an apology, dude. I said I didn't want to see him on the field anymore.
Yeah,
Like,
and thank goodness he's out there, right?
Thank goodness they don't listen to a damn thing I have to say.
It's a good thing they only listen to me.
Yeah, that's it. Only
Jimbo.
Yeah.
They must, because Adafe's not playing.
Something's going on. Something's fishy.
I got some photos of someone in the coaching staff. It's got to be what it's what it is.
That, or
right?
you're sliding a couple of Benjamins his way underneath the castle door. You know?
Yeah, because they need my money, right?
Every bit helps, bro. They're paying Lamar a ton.
Fair enough. But let's and then my defensive player, my X factor is Kyle Hamilton. I realize that's also like low-hanging fruit, but I think Kyle Hamilton could be we talked about tackling. He's a tackling machine. And then we talked about keeping everything in front of us on the back end. And that's what him and Ardaris have done a really good job of. So I think that if they can do that, and in moments, smaller moments, Kyle can make a big play up by the line of scrimmage. I think, you have to use him more sparingly, more strategically in that role, but I can see him doing it and making a big play in this game.
Mm-hmm. Yep, I like it. Although, I'll give you a pass for picking one of our stars. I'll give you a pass. Okay, I'll give you a pass. You didn't pick.
Hey, oh no, he wasn't. I was gonna say, wasn't Odafe drafted higher than Hamilton, but he wasn't. No.
Yeah, but who cares where you're drafted? I mean, Odafe Owe, if you name the best players on our team, how long do you go until you get to Odafe?
Right. Yeah, no, you're right.
You're getting to Kyle pretty quick. Pretty
yeah, both Kyles before Odafe?
I think you have to say that. Yeah, I think you have to. I mean, he's got more sacks. Kyle Van Noy's got more sacks. So
yeah, no, you're
and
not
Kyle
wrong.
Hamilton, no brainer. Absolutely,
yeah, for sure. But let's get into the competition, though, Glenn.
It is that time, and of course, we were incorrect. We were at fault for not announcing last week's winner in Tuesday's show. So we're gonna right that wrong right now, and also name last week's show winner, right, Jimbo? Which you're really excited to hear about. So DK, who won it from a should we do there it is. There it is, Jimbo.
0 out of 4, baby. I go big or go home.
That's right. Man, Jimbo laid a donut on the board.
Oh, that's hilarious.
No, you take that somehow out. The People's Champ, of course, wins the week 15 over under competition. Back in the throne as I belong. I think all is right in the world when I'm sitting atop that throne.
I think DK is still winning though, right?
Well, I need to see the score. Do we have an updated scoreboard? Because
I think DK has 6 wins this year.
What am I up to? I'm losing count. I'm running out of fingers.
3.
Is that it?
What do I have, DK?
Hold on. 6?
3 and 6. DK done doubled us up, dude.
Hold on. How many games have we played? That doesn't even equal the right amount. Can I get a recount? DK just realized that does not equal.
Yeah.
Because
there's been, 15 played. Games? Aren't we 10 and 5?
I believe we have. Are we 9? Are we 9 wins? Oh my gosh.
No, we have double-digit wins, I believe.
Yeah, we're 10 and. No, we're 9 and 5. They're 10 and 4. Pittsburgh is 10 and 4.
Okay.
So, but still, that's 14 games. Well, he said only adds to 12.
Games.
Yeah, he only adds to 12.
Look at him over there.
Just give me those 2. Just give me those 2. Put me at 5. Don't you have 10 fingers, Mark? It was a joke. Okay. Yes, I do have 10 fingers. Yes, I do.
All right, let's get into it though. DK can figure that out in a second. But
this week's fan winner or last week's fan winner.
Yeah, let's talk about it.
Throw it up here, Michael Nelson. Congratulations, Michael.
2 out of 4. It was a rough one for everyone, including obviously here on the show. You got it right. It came down to the second tiebreaker. DK told us, and I think it was a matter of like 5-10 yards. And
he submitted through Instagram.
Yeah, and I think I think what DK is saying here as well is the winner was announced on Instagram as well.
Oh, okay.
Which I think he does every week. But we'll make sure we get your swag out to you. Make sure you DM us your information. But let's get into this week's competition, wrap this thing up, and get you guys ready for Saturday.
Let's do it.
To my on the bad fly, trying to let they cast stock, homie, let them know you here. All my ladies that be mad high, like, shorty, let me get this clear. Okay, Baltimore the backdrop, rep it like a mascot. I'ma let them know we here. All my ladies.
What? We're back. My bad.
It's all
I was
good.
jamming.
Shout out to DULA SINCERE for providing the music for our competition. Let's get into it, DK. What's the first one? All right. Over under number 1 is Lamar Jackson passing touchdown. Of course, had the Jackson 5 last week. DK sets this week's over under total at 3.5. More or less, Jimbo?
I omitted the passing word, but I'm going over. Whatever. I just thought it was total touchdowns. I just read way too fast. But I'm going to stick with it. I put over and I'm going to stay with it. That's fine.
Okay. All right. I put under.
Cool.
Me and DK will be right and you'll be wrong.
That's We're
fine.
tied anyway.
No, we are not tied. I have 5 wins.
Right. You're just going to take
You have
those.
3. I'll take those 2 missing ones.
Yeah, no big deal.
Put those in my pocket.
Jeez.
So me and DK say under, you say over. All right, next one is, wow, Ravens kick return long. So what's their longest kick return? Will it be over or under 38?
I think this is off the heels of Justice Hill having a good game. But that's because the Giants are garbage. It's not, Justice did well, but the Giants are just garbage. I think the Steelers are a more disciplined team, so I'm going under.
Yeah, they have one of the best special teams units in all of football. Did you change that? Did you have that as over at first and changed it to under? Yeah.
Oh.
Okay. All right. So we all say over on that one, or under on that one. I'm sorry. So we are all in agreement. All right. Next one is Steelers passing yards, 245.5. So will Russell Wilson pass for more or less than 245.5 yards?
I'm saying yes. I know I got made fun of in the pre-show for picking this one. I'm saying yes because I just think there's going to be trash at the end of the game, and I think he'll throw 246.
So you don't have a lot of confidence in this Ravens defense that's been playing well lately?
I do. I don't think there'll be meaningful yards.
Okay. All right. Okay.
Yeah. I think the
Bunch
game will be
of wasted calories, right? Or
right, just
empty
white
calories.
rice, baby.
Okay. All right. Well, I'm going to say under because I'm not crazy, Jimbo, and they have Russell Wilson and no George Pickens.
Yeah, no, it's true.
Jimmy's just trying to give me this one. So I say under. DK agrees. So me and DK agreed on everything. Oh,
Filthy
my
animal.
gosh. Okay, here's the one. Okay, so we won't agree on everything, but we have to this point. All right, last one of the over-unders. Justin Tucker missed field goals and extra points. So if he misses any kicks, that would count towards this count here. And DK sets the over-under at 0.5. So is he missing any kicks this weekend?
Nope,
Jimbo?
he's going to be perfect. Justin Tucker's back, baby.
No chance. He's absolutely going to miss a kick. Justin Tucker is toast, ladies and gentlemen.
Yeah.
I hate to say it, but I have no confidence in this guy making a 50. You really think if he goes out there for a 55-yard field goal in Baltimore, he's burying it?
Yep.
Oof. I hope I'm wrong on this one, Jimbo, but I am seriously concerned about that guy's mental. Every video I've watched, I don't see the confident guy anymore. I'm seeing his interviews. He's trying to put on a happy face. I don't see it, Jimbo. I see a lack of confidence in his eyes.
That's okay. When confidence wanes, you just lean on muscle memory, and his form looked so much better in his extra points last week. Looked significantly improved. I'm going with under.
Okay. All right. I say over. DK says under. All right. Moving on to the total score, Jimbo. He sets it at 46.5. I'm going to do something I've never done this season. I'm going to say under. I'm going to say under because I think they stink offensively, Jimbo. I don't see them getting to 20 points. They're not going to pull their weight and get half of this.
Right.
So the Ravens traditionally underperform against the Steelers defense. For that reason, I think the Ravens win. But I'm going to say they win 20 to 10 or 13. I'm going to say 20 to 10.
Win. Real old school win.
Yep.
Yeah, I don't think that's the case. I think that.
How do they get to 27, Jimbo?
Look, our defense isn't world beaters. Like, we're decent, but we're not world beaters. Our special teams isn't blowing anybody out of the water.
But they had 18 when we were bad. They had 18 when we were bad. They didn't score a touchdown when we were bad.
You're right. You're absolutely right. But I just think they'll get 20. I think 34-27 is the win. And I think 27 comes late. I think it's more like 34-20.
Okay.
But then they get a late touchdown.
All right. All right. Well, we disagree there. DK also says under. I don't know how many times he's picked the under this year either. So uncharacteristic selection for each of us. Now, last one, closest to the pin.
Mm.
Total yards for the Ravens. Jimbo, is this your lowest prediction of the season?
I think it is 415. And I think it's also noteworthy to the folks here that you haven't put yours in yet.
There it is.
Yeah. All
Like
right.
that?
That makes sense. Yeah.
Okay. Yeah, I'm going to say 360. I mean, look, they had their lowest yardage total of the season the last time they played them.
Yeah.
So for that reason, I'm going to predict my lowest prediction of the season, which is 360. I think the lowest I had done before that was like 385. So substantially lower than I've done any other prediction. And DK tends to agree, it looks like. He says 375. Kind of pinched him in there a little bit.
Yeah.
Sorry. Trying to win this thing.
Yeah, I get it.
You know, EJ trying a little bit. So I might have used my last entry as an advantage to me, and I'm not ashamed of it. So let us know what you guys think. Of course, you want to participate by sending a direct message to one of the social media platforms we participate with, or send a comment below once the live is over, and we will announce the week's winner next week.
Let's go, baby. Make sure you guys, of course, tune in right after the game. I'm super excited for it. Just a reminder, it's Saturday at 4. Don't somehow think that the game's on Sunday. We'll be here right after the show, so make sure to join us. But that's it for us tonight, folks. We'll talk to you soon.
See ya.